Good afternoon and welcome to Real Chicks Rock Presents Real Discussions. I am your host, Michelle Dawes-Burt, and as always, I am super excited to be here with you. Today is a special day. Not only is it because it's Easter Sunday, and typically I don't work on a holiday Sunday. If a holiday falls, I'll take off and I'll leave you with a replay of a previous show. But today is kind of special because today marks us completing 6 seasons. Six. That means 6 years of coming before you every first and third Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, having these discussions. And so I just had to be here today. I'm sorry. I had to be here. I am super excited. Thank you so much, everyone, all the listeners, the supporters, the fans, everybody that has been leaning in, listening to the show, sharing it, talking about it, all of the guests that I've had over the past 6 years. Thank you so much for sharing your time, sharing your wisdom, providing information, empowering our listeners over the past couple of years. Thank you so much. And thank you to Status Network, who has allowed this place to be my home. I could not do this show without the Status Network team. I thank you guys so much for allowing me to do this for the past couple of years. And shouts out to my team, the RCR team, that keeps me up, keeps me going, helps me get to the guests, and helps me continue to put this brand in a good light. Thank you all. Thank you, everyone. Yes. So like I said, it is Easter Sunday. I just wanted to all of those people that went out today at any form of worship, however you spent this morning, may God continue to bless you. I know most of us, right, those that are in relationship with God, we are seeking him every day. So for some of us, it was like, it was just another day. I'm going to give up my seat today at church to allow other people to go. And church was crowded today. I went today. It was the first time the doors had opened in 2 years. So that is the temperature and the atmosphere here in Atlanta. It's a beautiful day here. But people are itching and vibing to get out. They don't want to be inside anymore. Masks or not, vaccinated or not. People are like, I'm out. I am out getting this fresh air. I want to see people. I want to talk to people and not through a Zoom call. I want to hug people. And so people are just out. And so human nature is taking us by storm, right? People want to socialize and just be in the midst of other people. So I think it's going to be an exciting summer, right? Concerts are back on, shows are back on. People are just showing up everywhere. Restaurants are packed. I think we are starting to live our life. And it's good because that ties into my topic today. And I'm going to talk about that in just a second. I want to thank all the new listeners. Thank you, all of the new listeners that are checking us out today. Just wanted to give you a little background as to what Real Chicks is all about. It's all about creatively collaborating to connect, to raise awareness regarding issues that impact us women. And we do it by way of community service, public speaking, mentoring, and workshops and the arts. And like I said, this is real critical, pivotal for us today. This is a milestone. And I'm glad for my guest today. My guest has been with me since like years back, but she listened to me when I wanted to birth this brand and has been extremely supportive since day one. So I'm honored to have her here with me today as we celebrate this anniversary. And today's topic is so befitting of her lifestyle. And I talk to her about it all the time. And I wanted to bring her on the show because I think it's great to share and help other people live their life, because life is worth living. That is the topic for today. Life is worth living. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest today, Monifa Burke. Hi, Monifa.
Hi, Michelle. Hey.
You look beautiful as always.
Thank you.
How are you? How are you today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing great. I'm here in Orlando. It's a good 90 degrees, so I'm enjoying the weather. Just, vacationing for a few days.
Yeah, awesome. And tell the people what you were doing before you jumped on this interview. What were you doing, Monifa?
Oh, I was at the pool, and I came up, I set my alarm for 1:30 so I can get out the pool and make sure I make it back up into the room.
Oh my God. See, life is worth living. So I'm going to get right into it. So Monifa, born and raised in Atlanta, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You are rare because a lot of us are transplants. So tell us a little bit about some of the things that you did growing up as a kid in Atlanta.
Well, I would like to say, like, my all sides of my family are from Atlanta. Like, have been there for quite a while. I was fortunate enough to know my great grandmother on my mom's side, all grandparents, except for my grandfather. But they're all from Atlanta. So I grew up like not only just knowing about just going to school and being raised in my community, but I knew several different communities, and they were also pivotal in Atlanta. My grandfather, Rogers Hornsby, first black man to own a bonding company in Georgia.
Nice.
I have family's grandmother that was a judge. So growing up with that history, as well as knowing that most of them were born at home, not in the hospital because they couldn't.
Wow.
And in the days where they would go in the back door of Rialto because they could not come through the front, the colored water fountain, all of that history.
Nice.
And then I was able to go sit on the front row of the Rialto. I was able to go to the Fox just to experience all of those things that they could not, and hear those conversations and see that. So that kind of birthed in me, like, even if we have a day or two or a moment of struggle, there's still so much life to be lived because those same grandparents who had to drink out of the colored water fountain, or go in the back of the Rialto and sit in the balcony, they still found ways to enjoy life. And they weren't bitter, they weren't angry, they, were able to just thrive. And even their spirits, not just financially or, the other ways we think of thriving, but thriving spiritually to where they wanted to experience life. Like, it was nothing for my grandparents to say, hey, I'm gonna run up to the casino in Jersey this weekend.
Nice.
My great grandmother loved to do that, and my grandmother. Or we're going to Biloxi for the weekend, and they would all go with all their girlfriends. So basically that's where the start of life for me, and seeing life, like seeing those different dynamics of there may be struggle and strife in one area because of society or whatever may come, but there's still this other side of beauty that you create on your own.
Beautiful story, beautiful legacy. And so they definitely poured into you because you're glowing. You're glowing. And I've known you since you were a little younger. And so I remember you seeking for different things. Like there was something that was always inside of you wanting to do and experience more. Did you feel, Monifa, that you were maybe an odd man out, or was your circle similar like you, like always looking to do different things? How was it for you?
Yeah, I've always, even as a child, felt like odd man out, and definitely like when we met, I was either 19 or 20 back in the day. And I always felt odd man out because I felt this, maybe some people would say a naive optimism that people felt that I had, but I just truly, genuinely believed, Michelle, that everything, like all things are possible. Like I just really did. And that manifestation was so apparent in my life, even since childhood, over and over again, whether it was good grades, playing the viola, traveling abroad in high school. Like I just didn't feel like there were limits, I guess, to fun and to excitement and to exploration. And fortunately, my parents didn't put those limits on me, so that also helped. And the schools they chose to enroll me in Atlanta also helped cultivate that. But even in that, those same people around me had those same opportunities, but they just didn't see it the same way. So yeah, I definitely felt odd man out. And when we met, you were one of the few people that, even if you didn't think exactly like me, you never shunned it. And I appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, because unfortunately, sometimes when we're older, and I won't even put age on it, sometimes our experiences, Monifa, dim our light, or our vision is not clear, or sometimes we lose some optimism, right? The twinkle in our eye, we just, because of the things that happen to us, we just kind of feel, well, that's possible, but the thing about you is there was never a but. It was always possible. And so I wanted to ask you, how did you overcome fear? Did fear ever enter in your wheelhouse? And if so, how did you overcome or deal with fear?
Absolutely. Fear always came for me because I was a sensitive child, still sensitive now, and I'm just now getting to the point actually where I'm comfortable with that. Because growing up, that was the one thing that, especially as a Black child in the South and going to schools that were predominantly white, I was like, okay, I was taught you can't show your fear, your weakness, and be sensitive, because I would cry at the drop of a dime. I don't care. I would still fix it now, or look at it optimistically. I just wanted to cry. I'm like, what's wrong with crying? That would be like what's the big deal, you know? So fear would come in as a child, even as an adult, even in my career where I'm like, whoa, I kind of bit off more than I can chew. But I'm like, I'm here now, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, am I going to retreat or am I going to go forward? And also I look back at all the other times that I feared and even possibly failed. And I'm like, I'm still here. So I'm like, you know, it's not going to kill me. It's just going to be like, it's going to stink a little bit perhaps, but it's not going to kill me. So I'm going to be okay.
Is it really failure? I don't think there's any failure in you. Was it maybe a mistake, or it wasn't really failure?
I'm okay with saying failure. Failure to me is very subjective, sure enough. But for me, it's good to see it as failure because then I know what success feels like for me.
Okay.
You know, like if it didn't turn out the way that I wanted to turn out, the yes wasn't the yes or the no was, you know, like say for instance, if I went for a role at my last company and I didn't get it, that to me is a failure. But it's not a terrible thing because first of all, I already have a job. I'm in a role, so I'm not losing anything. If anything, it was just going to be a gain.
Right.
And I don't think it's a problem to see it as failure because in that I learned, like I would talk to the hiring manager, say, so what else could I have done differently? Or what were you really looking for? Those kind of questions. I mean, you learn from that and grow from that.
So you always look at things from an opportunist perspective, opportunity. So even though it wasn't, maybe the outcome wasn't what you expected or was shooting for, you didn't let that stop you. You go and you ask the questions to find out, okay, what could I have done better? What do I need to work on? What is it that I need to do? And you take that personal, you know, it's not personal, it's about learning, right? And that's another thing that we need to do. We take a lot of things, I'm going to speak personally, let me not say we. I take a lot of things personal, right? So if I don't miss the mark, immediately I feel, man, I didn't, you know, I fail, I suck, and those are the words that we need not say over ourselves. We just say, listen, we went for it, it didn't work out, what's the learning opportunity? What is the learning opportunity?
And also to pivot on that, I feel like in some of those situations, everything can be also attributed to perspective. Because here we are being amazing in our own right. Our failure does not negate our amazingness. It was just possibly we didn't present our amazingness the way we could have to convey it and get it across. You know, whether it's in an interview, whether it's in dating, whether it's in any situation, we may not have presented in a way that one person could receive.
Say that again, Monifa. We are amazing. Say that again, and we don't what? We don't present our amazingness. Say it again, Monifa. Say it, girl. Say it.
That's what I'm saying. We are both amazing, like all of us are amazing, and we just at times don't present our amazingness the way we should or the way that person can perceive.
I got you.
That's I feel like there's no right or wrong. There's no right and wrong in how we present ourselves on any given day. But at times there's just different ways people perceive us and perceive everything in life. So that's why that's why it's easy for me not to take things as personal sometimes. Right. Because sometimes I will, but then I have to just change my perspective and realize that it doesn't really, it's not just about me. Right. I'm in this life with everybody else, and we all have different perceptions. And we all have different ways of looking at things. We all have different experiences, history, societal norms, all that stuff. We're all clouded with that, right? And everybody's on this tip about being our authentic selves, but like half of us don't know who that is.
Come on, say that part. Could you say that part again?
You know what I'm saying? Like, really? Like, how you gonna be authentic, but you don't know who you are? Like, I know so many people who they were raised to be, which parents are to guide us. Right. And there's, I know parenting's tough. However, there's a lot of times in that parenting and in the upbringing where your child is only going to think in a perspective of what you give them until they decide to seek more. Exactly. That's great thinking, Monifa. And one thing about you and the way that you think, you're non-judgmental of people. Oftentimes, when people try to show their authentic self or just show you that they're going through a transition or they don't even know who they are,
we quickly judge them. We write them off, right? You should do it this way, this, that. We are very opinionated. And I think it's you sit in your power when you're able to not judge people, because you allow them to continue to express themselves and figure out who they are and continue to grow. And that's a great attribute that you have. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. I wanted to lean in just a little bit. I want to peek in, because another thing that we struggle with is dating, right? Traditionally, as women, we just date a certain kind of way, right? We just think it's supposed to be one-on-one, and this is supposed to lead to marriage, and then we're supposed to have some kids, and it's just a traditional mindset. And that sometimes people in our circle or our villages gave us the perception that if we were a woman that knew what we wanted, we might have been a fast woman. Yeah. We might have been a promiscuous. Like, they just didn't allow us to be feminine and be able to know what we want, because listen, you could like this guy for what he does and this guy for how he talks, and we were not taught to have different feelings for different people at once. So how was that for you, Monifa? Were you able to, did you come up in that kind of traditional thinking of dating long term? How was it for you? How was it?
Yeah, it was definitely that way. Because I was raised here, raised in Atlanta, Southern, we were Baptist, religious family, and my mom was a minister. So, and my entire family was basically raised in the church, and all on my mom's side, we all were members of the same church. So there was a way in which we were perceived to date. And then also there's the women's ministry at church, where you're given information on how to seek a mate or receive a mate. We weren't seeking, so I grew up in all of that, and I decided to debunk most of that. I would say 95%. As I grew older, I was in a relationship for 17 years with my high school sweetheart. And after that, and we're still friends, so no bad blood there. But after that, I decided to start dating, and I did do the normal dating one-on-one, like one person at a time, and see where that goes. However, then I realized that, hey, this isn't quite working for me. It just feels like it's very too structured for me, too routine, and it's not horrible, but it just takes too long to really get to know someone. And everyone wants to be serious very quick. Whereas why can't we get to know each other as friends on a different level? So so I changed that up, and I started what I call multi-dating, dating more than one guy at once. And people have to realize also that doesn't mean you're intimate with every guy at once.
Come on, girl.
To me.
Yeah, come on.
I don't feel like there's anything wrong with that either, because we're all adults. But however, that doesn't necessarily always mean that. So I think people need to open their minds up to a different style of dating. And I've even told some of my sister friends that I'm like, listen, if you're a mono dater, there's nothing wrong with that. If you can only focus on one person at a time, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, right? However, you cannot date a multi-dating guy, a guy who dates multiple women, and expect him to behave as you do. Because that's where the conflicts come in, the lack of communication on how we date each person, and also what our beliefs are around dating, and talking about that kind of early on is I know people say, well, what are you looking for? But that's not the same question.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's not the same question. Because both people could be looking for marriage, but get their two different journeys. But the journey may be too much for one party who's in that. So then it becomes, friction and unnecessary hurt and pain, but it was just the journey was different. The goal, and then someone always thinks, well, they lied, they played me. No, you didn't have the discussion,
So how should we have it, Monifa? What should we say when we meet somebody? What should we say when we meet somebody?
Well, of course, they'll always ask what you're looking for, and are you dating, all of those questions. But I feel like it needs to be a click down. When someone asks, are you dating, whether you're asking a man or a woman's asking a man or a man's asking a woman, I would say, okay, cool, you are dating. Well, how do you date? Describe to me what that looks like in your life. How do you view dating? And also ask questions in a non-judgmental way, because sometimes that tone in that voice could be like, or the face being like, I'm waiting on you to say something I don't like. I'm waiting on you, and I tell some of my girlfriends too, like, you quick to make that face on this information, you're not gonna ever get nothing heavy. Never. You never get nothing heavy. Because you already made judgments on like just one little thing. So
right.
You don't like his shirt being pink, he ain't gonna tell you nothing else. Right. So you gotta be a little bit softer in it. Just have a conversation.
Yeah.
And then realize too, where if it doesn't, like, say you go on a few dates and it doesn't work out, he's not terrible. He's just not what you desire, or you may not be what he desired. Like, even in our amazingness, everybody cannot say, I want you.
Right. Right.
And that's okay too. Like, I truly believe we're both amazing, but we're not for everybody.
Yes. Good points.
And they have every right to make that choice.
Good points, Monifa. I think the issue for us, or for we say people aren't honest, right? But we're not ready for the honesty.
That too.
Right? Because in our mind, for some women, we've already calculated what this person will be and mean and where we're going to go.
Right.
And we're not listening and hearing what they're saying. And then we're thinking that things will change once they get with me, because I'm all that. Right? So we still are living in that fantasy and not respecting and listening to what the person is saying. And you as the person have to make the decision if this is something you're going to be able to work with or not.
Right.
Versus getting into it.
Exactly. And also, I feel like as part of the show, like, life is meant to be lived.
Yes.
So I feel like just because I'm trying to get to the journey of marriage, if someone wants to get to the journey of marriage, right? On the way there, you can't make any more stops. Like, what is that about? when you run errands, do you always just go to that one place and never make stops in between? Like, on a trip, anything.
Yeah.
So on the way there, I feel like if you're mature enough to handle it as a woman or a man, if someone says they want to get to marriage, but they're a multi-dater and there's a few other things that aren't quite checking off everything, as long as there are no red flags, there might be a yellow here or even an orange, a caution.
An amber.
You don't have to pretend that this person still isn't worthy of being liked and loved.
I got you.
Because I feel like along our journey, liking and loving people and communicating, that it requires practice.
Yeah.
So if you're just meeting people, interviewing them and dropping them and thinking, when I meet the one though, I'm gonna be ready. You've not cultivated how to communicate with men. You've not cultivated how to be open, how to listen. And sometimes these people along the way that are good people can be that sounding board and can be that, that time of showing someone that they can be loved also, and that you can be loved without all the ties.
Awesome advice, Monifa. Let me ask you, let's get into the living part some more, a different perspective. What do you consider good times or exciting times for yourself? Is it the dinners? Because you're a foodie, you travel. Like, let's get into that. How is it? Because some of us are single women, right? And some of us are like, I need somebody to go with me to have dinner, whether it be male or female. Do you venture out by yourself, Monifa, when you go and eat?
Absolutely. And it's been a little bit less due to the pandemic. And it really kind of irks my soul that I can't move around like I used to. Because as you know, like, we're in Atlanta and all the big cities, I think, are experiencing this, where there's been an uptick in crime since the pandemic started due to different, various reasons. Right. So I don't feel as comfortable, roaming Atlanta by myself, especially at night. But that's one thing I always loved doing, whether it was movies, going to a bar and sitting there and having conversation. And I would purposely not tell friends what I was doing on a Friday night or even on a Wednesday night, because I want to be by myself and experience it, because it's two totally different experiences when you go to dinner alone versus going with others, right? And the same with travel. I traveled alone, even to other countries, and I like that because every day is mine. Like, top to bottom is my day. You know, and some people look at it the other way, like, I'll be lonely, but I'm like, this is my time now. to really experience and see things I wouldn't if I'm at a table with 3 girlfriends, or if I'm at a table with my guy, and we're just focused on our conversation and how we both are perceiving the vacation, versus now I'm here by myself and I get to take it all in, like all day.
Yeah, yeah. When you go to dinner, Monifa, how do you select it? Are you in a dinner group, or you just go to Yelp, or how do you find restaurants to go?
Instagram. Instagram and driving around, like pretty much, and Google. Like, say for instance, I have a taste for something, like I want a good steak today, and I'll be like, best steak in Orlando, and options come up. I look at a few reviews, I'm like, yep, that's the one. Pictures, I'm like, yeah, that's the one. And I always go to Instagram, because the Instagram will tell you the truth. Yeah. You know? People gonna be in them comments if you was nasty. No. The food good, but you had a bad attitude. It's gonna be in the comments.
It sure is. It sure is. They'll let you know. Monifa, for you to move about the way that you do, are you on a budget? Do you recommend people like be on a budget, or you just like throw caution to the wind? Like, how are you moving? What's going on?
Listen, that's a good question. It always starts with a budget, I'm gonna be real honest.
Okay.
But the way that I'm able to do it, and even like I'm currently not working because I decided to take a little gap year after I left my career of 25 years.
Nice.
So I'm taking a gap year because I'm like, how do you do that, right?
Yeah.
But prior to that, when I was working, I would set a loose budget for entertainment, and all of, entertainment includes comedy shows. So I love those too. Travel, dining out, fun with friends, whatever that may be, right? So I set a budget with that, send that money over there. But it wasn't so tight to where, like, if I went on a 3-week trip to Asia, I had no idea what that was supposed to cost, right? So I'm like, this is just going to be whatever. You just free flow it, wing it, and get it,
right.
Be good.
Right.
But it also, I mean, to be honest, though, it's just me, and I, haven't had a car note in a while. I don't have the overhead that a lot of people have. I don't have children. So someone else's budget may be different, but I do believe in budgeting. But I also believe in, like, cutting. It's not even cutting, because I never wanted it, but I don't have to have a lot of material things. So that helps too, because I'm a sneaker girl. Yeah, I was gonna say that. I love shoes. Yeah, I love and a nice purse and a nice bag to go with the shoes. Yes, shoes, a handbag, and it could be no name brand that bag or whatever. I don't care, just as long as it's hot and matching my shoes. Yeah, I'm good. But I don't spend money in a lot of other areas that others do. So I got all the way in the world to do entertainment. Right, right. You made that a priority for your self-care. That's my priority. Yeah. So what would you say, Moni, for somebody that doesn't really know how to get going? There's something gnawing in them to say they need to get out more, right? They try to check with their friends. Their friends are in different stages in their life. Like, they may have kids, they may be going through a divorce, they may just be busy. Sometimes they don't have the money, they don't have the bandwidth. And so they're not clicking with the friends the way they need to socially. Right. So what would you suggest to somebody, Monifa, to help them take that first step in getting out and living that life? What would you say? I would say the first thing, and one thing I want to add on to the last question, is like another way for, like you said, when the finances may not be there, an easy way is, because we all have to pay bills, right? Right. And buy food and other things like the necessities. I always use the same credit card for that. So I'm loading up on points. Me too. And for someone who may only want to travel twice a year, those points can pay for their entire vacation. Yes. Because if you're going to spend $2,000 to live, pay your phone bill, pay your light bill, buy toiletries for your house, household goods anyway, go ahead and charge that, but you have to be disciplined enough to pay that off. Right. So that, because you're spending $2,000 either way. But a lot of times, like buying those things, like especially if you're going to eat out anyway, that can be triple points on some cards, right? So you can rack up, like right now, this hotel I'm in is free for 5 days. Wow. So this is on points. It's the A-Lob. This is brand new. I always look for a new hotel too.
Wow. And that's when we say pow to that pillow that's behind you. That's how you do that. So basically, we need to find things that are going to reward us as we use it, which is that one travel card or whatever that is that's going to pay us back and that'll help us in getting out. So instead of you using the points for the aloft, it could have been used for a dinner somewhere if they honor that.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
So it's,
it could be dinner, it could be flights, and that's why I don't get myself into a airline card, because that's usually just, or one hotel card, because it's just that.
Right.
But a card, like I have a Chase Sapphire, I can use that. I can use those points for anything. Cash back on this, that. Like cashback cards are also good because, like you said, someone that thing may not be traveling at all, but they're getting cash back on everything they're spending. That's that $600 dinner at Salt Bay in Miami.
Yeah. So for the people, again, going back to the question, first step, what is the first step somebody should do? What do you recommend?
First step, I would say, is perspective. Change your perspective and decide what you want your life to look like. In every area. Say it's the travel, the going out solo, the going out with friends, because you may not have all the pieces at that time. But if you decide that's what you want and that's what you're working for, your first step is to say what it looks like. Say it out loud, write it down. However they're accustomed to manifesting things, or their faith, connecting their faith to realization and manifestation, like however that works for a person, do that. That's your first step. And then just put yourself out there, just jump in, you know, because like I even tell friends, like there's always a way. Like say you go somewhere, you don't like it, you can always leave. I don't care how long your reservations are for. I don't care, like you just sat down to eat after waiting 20 minutes for a table. If you don't like it, you don't like the scene, get up and leave. It's somewhere else you can go and have just as much fun.
Yeah. Awesome. That's a great way to get started. Let me ask you, Monifa, do you operate off of a bucket list? Like, have you listed all of the things you wanted to do, or a vision board? But really, I think it's a bucket list, right? For the way.
Well, yeah, I call it my living list.
Okay.
So I do have a living list, and those are the things on there are things that aren't within immediate reach.
Okay.
Because like for me, I feel like I don't put on my living list like going to dinner somewhere, you know, that's like every other day, right?
Right.
But if it's something like I do want to do dinner in the sky, I don't know if you've seen that before.
Is that through the hot air balloon or something, or what?
No, it's like a crane is holding you up, like 10 people up, and you're strapped into a seat, and you have someone cooking you in front of you and serving you dinner. And they have them all over the world, but lately because of COVID, it's been kind of cut down. But I do want to go do that somewhere in the world.
Yeah. Wow. See, so that's on the list. That's a living list. So you have a living list, and it's always growing, right? Because as you mark something off,
growing and checking off, and it's just a little memo in my iPhone, nothing big, nothing serious. I used to try to do what do you call the board you
the vision boards?
Vision board. Yeah, I don't keep up with that. Yeah. I don't even get the thing done, Michelle. And that just shows you that everybody's avenue and ways are different.
Yes, it is.
Yes. Yeah, and I do keep a journal, but I don't journal the normal way either. I do bullet points. Like, this is what I want to happen, even career-wise. Like, I want this role. I want this much more money when I get it. I want it by this day. I want this. And then I'm go back and date on that page when it happened.
Yeah.
You know?
You are a great writer, Monifa. You write well, you speak well, you communicate very well. Communications is definitely a strong space for you. And you're right, everybody does things differently. I didn't always believe in a vision board, and I don't really think I still have one. I'm more of a list person.
Me too. And I had to figure that out because I wanted to get into a vision board.
Yeah, but I was like, I'm not doing that, cutting out the pictures and the different words. And so I was like, I'll be here all day, like forever. I was like, no, but as it comes to my mind, I write it down, and they're in front of me. They're not in my phone, but they're home and in a space that I see every single day. And it is good to just have it. I do respect the fact that you need to see it maybe in some kind of form, or you write it down. I'm not restricted as to how it comes for you, but whatever it is that kind of reminds you that life is bigger than what you see in front of you, I think that's the key.
Above that, though, I belief is the first thing.
Yes.
I don't remember the exact scripture, but sometimes people's issue is believing.
Yeah.
And they just ask, help my unbelief. You know what I'm saying? Because that is what truly connects us to what we're writing, what we're thinking. Like every time, like all day long, we're having inner thoughts, right? Mm-hmm. So even if you forget to open up that, that memo in your phone. Like sometimes I don't remember to open up a memo and reread what I've written, or go to the journal and reread, but writing it down that first time, or thinking it that first time and more than once, and meditating on it in our own way, not necessarily sit and meditate, but meditating on it is something as easy as, kind of, a lot of people have issues with meditating.
Yeah.
It's as simple as when you're driving, just visualizing yourself in that space.
That's
you
good.
know, or thinking about, oh, that's going to be so much fun when I'm able to sit up there at dinner the sky, thousands of feet above, and I wonder if my shoes going to come off, and how's that going to work? You know, just all the stuff. Because I do wonder how, like, I know they have that net down there, but like, I want my shoe back now. My shoe fall off, you know. Just, and all of that stuff, Michelle, connects it to make it real in your spirit.
That's awesome.
You know,
yeah.
Like thinking about minute details, because some people are so high up. Like
That's
even
true.
meeting my guy, like I was in Vegas. It was Father's Day weekend 2018. And I said to myself, walking through the lobby by myself, it was me and my sister weekend in Vegas. And I was walking through the lobby of our hotel, the Aria, and I was like, I'm going to meet an amazing guy here, but he's going to live in Atlanta. I said, I'm going to meet an amazing guy this weekend while I'm here, and he's going to live in Atlanta though. So in my mind, that wasn't very specific. I really thought, okay, I'm going to meet him there in Vegas.
Yeah, right.
But I said here. I was there. I met him while I was there because he sent me a friend request. Then he came to my inbox. We have no friends in common. Came to my inbox, said, he greeted me like no other man does. He actually like, hi, even I can see his name.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Antoine. What, you know?
Yeah.
So he was very, very personable.
Yes.
Very respectful.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, I still thought nothing of it, but we talked every day since then.
Wow.
So, and then we started dating and went from there, right?
Yeah.
But just that simple, like, I really believe it. So I was like, that weekend, like, that's, just looking around, like, who fine, first of all, I'm being honest, like, who fine? And then after they fine, like, look, see if they got a ring on it,
Yeah, man. That's awesome, Monifa. That's awesome. And you hit something there with faith, because oftentimes we may believe some days we don't. We just we doubt. Do you feel that you had to work what you were believing in? Do you feel you had to put some muscle behind it, or you just had to manifest it and just let it be?
Where my work is my belief.
Okay.
Anything I don't have that I want is because I don't believe yet.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like once I believe, it's gravy. It's good. Mm-hmm. It's just that believing and not wavering. Like if I'm still in the wavering, like do I really want it? Do I not? I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, because for the longest, I even wavered about even relationships. I was like, I could just kick it,
Yeah.
But once you open up to something more, and you don't even have to be perfect in it, because of course it doesn't have to be 100%. But you have to be leaning on the side of, I do believe this is possible. I believe it's possible for me. Yeah. And I do want it. Yeah. Even if fear is going to be there, right? Like even in parenting, fear is there, but you're getting it done. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yes. Because you believe you can get it done. Yes. 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 You may not know the hows and all the intricacies of how that's going to manifest, but if there's something you want to provide as a parent, whether it's knowledge, whatever, you're going to get it done. Yeah. And so that kind of belief is what we need. We need to, and I feel like when we talk about manifestation and faith, people make it so that it's so much heavy lifting. That's the image we have from how we talk about it, like on a societal level and a religious level and a spiritual level, that basically you got to tarry for it. You know what I'm saying? You got to be working it. You got to, like, even on the spiritual wavelength of, you got to do the work, like even on a psychological level of getting your therapy, doing all this stuff. You got to just have all these ducks in a row before you can get somewhere in life. And that's not the case. So I just want to encourage everybody to know that as long as you believe and you're really going in that direction of belief, it's very possible. And it could be right there. It could take a minute. That we don't know, but it's very possible. It's as easy as sometimes, you're driving to a parking space and you're like, I need a parking space and I need one up front now. And then one comes open, but you've been driving around 10 minutes.
It'd be as
Because when
simple
you
as
say I
that.
need one now, and you're really looking like I expect one to come open now, and it comes open, it's similar, you know.
I've seen your manifestations come through, Monifa. I'm not messing with you. You're definitely on point. I do want to ask you though, because you make your birthday season fun.
Oh yeah.
Your birthday season is fun for everybody that you're connected with, that knows you, that's your friend, that's just. And I just want to ask you, how did you come up with that concept and why?
With the 12 days of giving.
The 12 days of giving, yes.
Yeah, because it started and I remember I think it was 2004, around that time, when it started. When I started with 3. I would give 3 people in my life a gift as a thank you on my birthday, or around my birthday, because I know, like, yeah, we're aging. Yes, we're gonna have a birthday, but what's life without people, right?
Yeah.
So. And I can't always give everyone stuff on Christmas.
Right.
And then sometimes you might miss a birthday because we have so many friends, family, associates, coworkers, you know. So I'm like, just make it on the birthday because I'll remember, and I can pick 3 different people every year.
Right.
And then once we got really thick on social media and heavier presence on there, I decided, hey, let me open this up to my whole network of Facebook friends.
Yes.
And let me make it fun at the same time. And from August 1st to August 12th, my actual birthday, I do the 12 days of giving. And it's always been fun.
It's been beautiful. It's been beautiful. I appreciate your commitment. I want to ask you, how come you're so committed to helping other people?
It's just in me, because I tried to answer that question.
So that's a good question.
I can't answer it. Like, you know how you want to have some real profound, like, one day I was sitting on the curb. I don't have it.
Right. Okay.
So I think it's in me, because I do remember even as a child, like, I just never wanted to make waves in the negative way. I wanted to, and a little bit of that, I'll be honest, is it did turn into people pleasing at one point in my life.
Okay.
And I had to learn how to cultivate my giving and cultivate helping people, to not try to become savior of anyone, to not try to overgive for love or anything else, and just make it pure. I want to give. And 12 days of giving actually helped with that, because these are people that I don't see, I don't talk to on a regular basis, even though we might interact here and there on Facebook. But it's so detached from, there's not a need for anything back, there's not a desire for anything back. I just want to see people smile.
Awesome.
You know,
awesome.
And one thing about that is also, you just never know, because of course there are programs, not that everyone is able to take advantage of it, but there's programs for those who are less fortunate. There are different, assistance programs for financial aid for different things. And there's also, of course, those who are rich who get kickbacks on things. But the middle class is often forgotten.
Right.
And I do believe a lot of my Facebook friends are part of the middle class. And every year, there are people, several, that, like, I never have ever won or been given anything. And just to, for once in their life, get something, not because they had to work for it or do anything, they just participate in a little game, and that's it.
Right, and they did it. And you bless them and you make their day. I want to tap into the social media aspect, because you're right. Social media is everywhere. It's part of our life. It's not going anywhere. Can you recommend, or let me just rephrase it, when for you, do you join the social media groups that help you or tell you insightful things about dinner or travel? Are you part of a travel group or anything like that? Again, I just want people to kind of get out of their own way and figure out different ways to take that first step or get out. So social media, has it helped you in those spaces, Monifa?
Well, I would say the ones that helped me were Travel Noir.
Yeah.
And Up in the Air Life.
Okay.
And that's when I wanted to travel solo. And those 2 groups, I think they changed a little bit, because of the pandemic, they may not be offering. I mean, I think Travel Noir isn't right now, but Up in the Air Life, I think they're back curating trips. So basically, you just pick a week, you go to their website, pick a week to travel, make your payments, and when it's time to go, you get there. Like, your flight's on you, but they curate the actual trip.
Wow.
And it's not busy the entire time you're there. You do have your free time, whether that's by yourself or with someone else who booked that same week, but you don't know the people there. Or you could invite friends, but I just decided not to, right? So that's a way to start if you want to travel by yourself. And there are plenty of other groups like that on social media that I do recommend, because you can read the comments and see who's real, who's not, and who's having fun in those environments. And I really, really loved it. It's to the point where, like, one of my closest friends, she lives in Toronto, and I met her on one of those trips. Wow. It was an Amalfi Coast trip, and I was solo by myself. She came by herself as well, and so did the other ladies, to the point we've had 2 reunions with that same group.
Nice.
Where we just did our own trip. One was in Asia, where me and her spent the whole 3 weeks in Asia, and the others dropped in and out as however they could. And we went to 3 different countries, 2 cities in each, and it was a blast. That was our reunion trip. But she and I, we talk every single day almost. Nice. Through WhatsApp, we're talking.
Beautiful. So
that's why, like, just being open. Like, I feel like if I was on that trip with someone else, I wouldn't have met her, right? Or been as close, or got to know her as well. It would have been me and my crew, us doing our thing off to the side, And another, on the Cape Town trip, I also met someone, and I keep in touch with her as well. And she's coming from Tennessee to visit me in like a few weeks. So there's so much richness in stepping out of your comfort zone and, jumping into something like traveling alone, or even if you do take one person, because traveling alone is not everybody's thing, and that's okay too. Right. But getting started that way and just being open. I don't meet strangers. I think that's one tip too I would give people. Okay. Being open to meeting people. Right.
That's a lot of good stuff, Monifa, you've done. Is there any place you want to go that you haven't been yet?
Antarctica and Australia. Those are the last 2 continents I need to touch all 7. Yeah, I need to touch those 2. Wow. So definitely. And there are trips to Antarctica, but no one trying to go there with me. What you doing that shit around?
I got to check my calendar. Let me see what I could do. The last area I want to touch on with you, Monifa, because I think you've been really creative in this space, is the entrepreneurial side of you. Like, you've had different businesses and platforms, photography to event planning to just different things. And I think it's because you're a risk taker. Like, you're like, this is what I want to do. I love doing this. I love to do calligraphy. I like doing invites. I like doing this. Right. And I think that fuels all that for you. Do you have anything in the pipeline now coming up, like coaching or some other opportunities?
We talked about it a little bit. Coaching's in the pipeline. I actually did get certified last year in up-level communication coaching. Nice. And it's just developed by Kenya. Her last name is skipping, but I'll give the information. But it's up-level communication. There is a book. It's UPLVL. And I actually took that course because I was interested in coaching before. And part of my career was coaching, because I always had teams and I always had different coworkers and peers who would come to me for advice, as well as friends and family. Right. So I started getting interested in making sure I was able to deliver the information in a way that people could have some follow through also, right? Because I spoke from my spirit, which helped people, but also just having some way to frame it up so they see it even easier was the direction I want to go in. But after I did the certification, I got certified last year in March. I had one client just as a tester, but I'm saying, hey, this is still my gap year. I'm not working. So people have come and wanted to coach. I was like, nope, I'm doing my gap year because I'm going to honor the fact that I am not working at all for a year. And now I'm getting ready to jump back into it to where I coach in communication as well as intimacy and feminine energy, because those are areas that we all need to communicate on better and connect better and just understand each of those levels in life.
I love it. And I just want to emphasize the fact that your gap has been a year. Some of us can't be out for a week. We can't be, can't not be working for a long period of time. So the mere fact, if that doesn't tell people that you are living your life to its fullest, because you're able to not somebody tell you or dictate how long you're going to be, you're controlling that narrative. And I think that's the beauty about this conversation, is really empowering people that they have the power to control the narrative for themselves.
You're right. And I'm going to manifest right here on the show.
Yeah.
That my next, I'm going to look back, I'm stepping back, toe back into the professional field.
Yes.
This is what I'm going to have. This is what I'm going to have. It's going to be a contracting gig, 100 an hour or more.
Nice.
Unlimited PTO.
Nice.
What else do I want?
Remote, fully remote.
Yes, that's fully remote. You got it.
Fully remote.
That's it. And amazing coworkers.
Yes. Yep. That's awesome. That's
what
awesome.
I see.
Yeah. I was thinking here that you wouldn't even go back to corporate. I'm thinking that your coaching is just ready to take off, and that's going to give you everything that you're just speaking. That's what I was thinking.
I just like that. I just want that easy. To me, corporate's easy money. I'm just going to be honest. It is.
Is that right?
Once you get over realizing that people's attitudes and perspectives have nothing to do with you, it's easier.
Wow.
Yeah, because once I know it, right? Because in IT field, once you know that thing, you know that thing.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
You just it's just the personalities and the interpersonal work and issues that can come up. But that also decreases once you're remote.
Yes.
Because after I hit that off on that Zoom or whatever, I don't have to care what you think. I'm not going to see you at the water cooler. I'm not going to see you at
There won't be no drive-bys at your desk. None of that, right? And you're going to get it done and be done.
Hey, you got a moment?
No. Yeah, you know what, Monifa? You've been really good. And this is another thing in helping people live their life to the fullest. Like, live your life. Is a complete sentence. Right?
It is.
I think that you have definitely learned that, and that is a power you have. It's in your arsenal, and you're very polite about it, but you're like, nope, my workday ends at this point, no, I'm going here, or no, I have to do this, or I'm not going to do this. You've been very clear on what your boundaries are, how you're going to move, and that's very important because we cannot live our life if we're living for everyone else, right? If we can't say no, we cannot get that line in the sand to even breathe, to even know what we want. And I think for us as women, we do that often a lot. It's very difficult for us to say no or take a time out or to breathe, even to relax in the tub, like have a spa day. Like we do our hair and our nails, but like we need time. And I think you do an excellent job in just defining what works for you. And you've been very successful in having other people respect that boundary. And I think that that's another thing that we need to start activating, in living your life, because everybody says work-life balance. But we haven't been, Monifa. Realistically, when I talk to the average person, they have been getting up for 2 years, getting up as early as 7, maybe 8, in their pajamas, start working. They work until 5 or 6. There's a pandemic. They weren't going out to lunch. They wasn't taking a lunch break per se. So statistics have shown that corporations, people have been more productive these past 2 years than they've been previously because we've just been getting up. And nobody is saying, nope, 7 o'clock in the morning is not going to work for me. Nobody's saying, no, after 5, I can't do it. We're just kind of going with the flow. So we want to encourage people to know that no is a complete sentence. Activate your no, right? And know your boundaries.
Right. And know that, and then people need to know the difference between no and not now. Because there's sometimes I say no and I don't need to revisit it. Like it's not a not now. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like I actually don't want to have a conversation again.
No means no. It means don't come back and ask me again. I'm clear. Like I'm not doing it.
And sometimes you have to remind somebody in your no. If I do add on something to a no, sometimes, especially in professional life, I will say to the person, and I will give you every opportunity to tell me no when you want to.
Oh, you're so
You know
kind.
what I mean? Because I'm like, if you want an opportunity to tell me no, you need to go ahead and take this no. First, you're gonna have to go take it. But I'm just painting a picture that you also have the right to tell me no.
Right. Right.
So that they can feel like I like to be a no champion and let people know it's not a bad thing for anyone to say no. And even in friendship circles, it's something I want to touch on too, is that we exhaust one another as women because of our expectations of one another and our vision of what womanhood is. And I think it's super skewed. Like we can be homegirls and real close, but that does not mean I have to be at every baby shower. I don't have to be at every birthday gathering and dinner. I don't have to do that. If you trust and know that I like and love you and we're friends,
right,
I don't have to feel every position every time.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure.
You know, and then people say my circle's small. I speak against that because that's why everybody's exhausted. You know, because your circle's too small. Like I can have, like, you know me, I'm the birthday girl.
Yes.
I'm gonna celebrate myself on my birthday.
Yes, you are.
But if you can only make it every 5 years, I'm good with that because then I got enough people to rotate in and go, you know. It's not putting pressure on you to always every year you gotta lock in.
Right. You so kind, Monifa. You always always thinking of others in the process. See?
Just telling you.
You see what I'm saying? And you're right, because we do as girls, as friends, we put a lot of pressure on one another to always be there. Right. And it's like, no, that's not fair.
It's not fair. It's not fair. Like I don't ever want Michelle to have to be that friend who always does this and especially with friends like I've known you since 96 or 7. Like we're always counting on you to do the same thing for 20 some years.
I know.
You know how rude that is?
I know that. Thank you. You're so kind. That's why you're so wonderful. And beautiful things have always resonated around you and come through you, even in the times of not knowing. And that's the encouragement part that I want to share with people. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to know everything, but just take the chance, right? Just open up and just understand that you can live bigger than what's in front of you. I think that you have been a wonderful example of that in your circle, your community of friends, the people that know you, your colleagues. We see your light is so bright, it's so beautiful. And I just want other people to get a hold of that for themselves, right? Because life is so short, but we're here for a purpose and a reason. And I really believe that life can be as beautiful as we make it. And I think you've been a wonderful example of that, Monifa.
Thank you. And that let me think about something else too, that part of coaching, because I know in a short conversation, it's hard to give people real tangible examples of how to open up. Right. But that's some of the coaching I want to do as well. Is like people come to me, tell me, like, present what their life is and what they want it to be, and I can give them pointers on how to get there. Right.
That's a beautiful thing.
Like very specific pointers on, okay, you're doing this, but how about go here and try this and try that? You know?
I know you're not working yet, but can the people reach out to you? Like, how can people find you and see how you're living and what you're doing? Can people find you?
They can, just because it's your audience.
Or we could hold off because you still not, you're not ready to start working yet, but so
it's April now. I'm gonna be up and rolling in May. May is my, like, middle of May. I feel like I'm gonna be ready to say, hey, come get this coach and I'm here. Okay. And let's have a good time. Okay,
why May? May
only because I just got a few more trips going on and other stuff. You know, so like if someone reached out to me today, Michelle, they would have like maybe 5 days to be able to book coaching, and I'm gone the rest of the time. But I do plan to start coaching when I'm traveling as well. Yes, sometimes, but I know the type of trips I'm taking next, that it won't be.
So let me do this. No pressure right now, Monifa, but when you are ready, just give me the opportunity to promote it on the show. I'll be more than happy to close out my show or use it as a beginning for people that need coaching, because I think it's needed. I think we have mental health. We have things that we need to talk about. So there's therapy and counseling. I think people need coaching. I think people need mentors. I think we are at a place that we don't know what next to do. And we need to have people that are able to tap into our potential or just kind of help us lay things out for ourselves, because we don't know. One thing that we're doing this generation of people, we're breaking generational curses, right? So we're doing things that maybe for most of us, we've never seen our parents do. And so we are chartering unfamiliar territory. And so I just think it's important to have resources in place that people can go to when they need it to just kind of help them keep moving.
Right.
Yeah.
And so one thing I will say is people can lock in and connect with me now on Instagram. I'm a lover of Instagram. And it's Monifa backwards a phenom, which is AFINOM. I do have it private right now since I am just put a profile on LinkedIn, and I want everybody my business.
Yeah, I understand.
But after I get that manifestation, I'm gonna open it back up.
Yeah, no, that's right. It's coming, girl. Well, Monifa, I want to thank you for who you are. I want to thank you for your time today. You are a ray of light and such a source of encouragement. You encourage everybody that comes into your path. And I am so thankful to have known you for all these years. You have been this beautiful flower that continues to blossom. And I want to wish you all the best in everything that you do. I ain't going nowhere. But this is the proper closing for the show. I just want people to know.
Congrats on your 7 years.
Thank you.
You've done an amazing job.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Monifa. Thank you. So everybody, thanks, Monifa. This is my time. Guys, you know me. I'm Real Chicks Rock. I am everywhere. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Go check out my website, realchicksrock.com. You need a t-shirt. Spring is here. Go order your t-shirt. People look good in these t-shirts. Why won't you get one? Because you're going to look cute in it too. I encourage you to go get one. Listen, I've had a great time today. I'm just filled with blessings and thanks and gratitude and everything. My son is doing some phenomenal things. I'm so honored to be his mom. It's just a lot of good things. I can tell that God is doing some things within me, so I'm going to remain open and allow him to do what he does. I just want to thank everybody who makes this possible for me to do. I thank you for the text messages, the sliding in my DMs, when you see me on the street, wherever, the emails. I just thank you for believing in me and believing in this platform. We're going to continue to promote change. We want to empower women. We want to empower people, and we believe having these conversations and doing the work gives them the tools that they need to be better for themselves. Not for anyone else, but for themselves. We want you to love you first, because you got to love you first before you can love anyone else. That's my time. And you know what I always say, in honor of my mentor, I love him, Frankie Crocker. May he rest in peace. May you live to be 100 and I live to be 100 minus a day, so that I would never know that beautiful people like yourself had passed away. Until next time, take care, be well, and rock with me.